You want to start us off, huh, sweetie? Lucy wants to start us off. Come on, Lucy. Tell them that this is one of the last places in America, right, where opposing views are respectfully listened to. She's listening to the opposing views, and look at how respectful. You all have to lick each other's face. That's what happens when you hear opposing views. And they're sometimes even agreed with, right? Who am I? I'm the host Titan, and this show is making waves. That's both what it is and what it does. Now, you know this is season 2, and you know that this season is Out of the Blue, where we have our industry or our community leader, Blue Spartan, taking on one of the industry professionals each week. Yeah, that's right. And the volunteers get to pick the topic and which side they're going to debate, and Blue has to argue the opposing sides. Now, we still have 5 anonymous judges. They're still going to listen. Each side is going to take about 10 minutes. They take 4 minutes on opening statements and then 1 minute apiece on, rebuttal questions, right? Good point. And then 2 minutes on closing arguments. It's really about 20 minutes. It's not the end of the world, but it might change your mind. And tonight, you know what the sponsor is tonight? Tonight, the sponsor is not Lucy. The sponsor is So Chatty. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't had the opportunity to try this stuff yet, but Delphina tells me that this is yummy, chocolatey, melty stuff. And I think she probably pulled that directly from their promotional materials. I'm not sure, but we'll find out about that later. In the meantime, hey, Riptide, let's make some waves. Is that me? Yep. Am I live? All right. Greetings, judges. Thank you once again, always, for being here. And you have those really nice score sheets this season, so you can score each individual section of this debate, starting from a 5, which is, holy mackerel, that's a brilliant point, all the way down to a 1, which is the hell with both these guys, I'm voting for the dog. And you can score up each individual section, and then at the bottom you have an opportunity to give a general score to the overall presentation. Then you guys are going to let me know who you think won the debate. Now, before we introduce tonight's guest, let's remind everybody what the topic is for this week. Riptide, this week's topic: NCAA's involvement would negatively impact collegiate esports. NCAA's involvement would negatively impact collegiate esports. And our guest tonight, arguing the con side, disagreeing with this statement, is Alex Farrow. Alex is Aquatik's newest employee. He is known as Free Diver, in our Discord. Alex is from Naples, Florida, right here. He graduated from the University of Florida, Go Gators, where he was a team captain of the swimming and diving team, winning 4 consecutive SEC titles and adding to our 8th consecutive win. I can say our because I am part of a Gator family. He is a competitive gamer at heart, always playing the most competitive multiplayer games. Some say he's addicted to competition and ranking up, but he can't hear those players all the way down in the ranks. Listen to Alex trash talking in his bio. Alex loves long Valorant tutorials on the beach. I believe he's going to be posting this in some dating website later on. And diving off tall things. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Titan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate your time. And arguing the pro side tonight, agreeing with this statement, is none other than our very own Blue Spartan, Blue, how are you doing? Welcome back to week number, well, I don't even know what week number we're in, but welcome back. Are you all set to take on Alex tonight?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, Alex apparently has decided to go first tonight. So, Alex, you are going to spend 4 minutes on opening statements, and Blue will follow up. And then, Alex, since Blue is speaking second, you will be asking him each of your 4 rebuttal questions when he will have 1 minute to answer, and then he'll return the favor to you. And then, Alex, you'll spend 2 minutes wrapping up, and Blue will take 2 minutes on his closing statements. So, once again, reminding the players of the home game, tonight's topic, NCAA's involvement would negatively impact collegiate esports. And Alex is here to argue the con side. He's disagreeing with this statement. So that's a double negative for those of you playing at home. He's disagreeing. So he's all about the NCAA. Alex, you have 4 minutes for your opening argument. Go ahead and make your case.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I agree that the NCAA will have a positive impact on esports, and here's why. The NCAA allows players to be recognized. I feel that a lot of high school players, esports, streamers, they don't get a lot of recognition that they deserve, and they won't be able to really put themselves out there potentially to get to the pro level. So the experience to play, I think, is going to help with the NCAA's involvement. How I think they're going to help that involvement is the way they hold tournaments. The NCAA holds a lot of tournaments, as we know, football tournaments, basketball tournaments. And with all those tournaments that are being held, the esports industry is going to get involved, or the esports teams are going to get involved. And I believe that that'll help them get the recognition they deserve if they would like to go pro and be able to kind of be on the big stage that the NCAA will provide. My third point, the NCAA provides funding, which is probably the most important point during this argument, is the NCAA, they have $1 billion by themselves a year, $12 billion through all of the sports that they have, which allows an esports team to get coaching, allows them to afford players, afford tournaments, and equipment, medical staff, training staff, all these things that not only keep the student athletes good and healthy in school, but also mentally and physically that keeps them healthy. And I believe that the NCAA provides rules. The rules and regulations that NCAA provides, I believe, allows for the student athletes to have a fair advantage at every tournament, every scrimmage, every game. If the scrimmages are being held by club players, or it's just me and Blue Spartan wanting to go out and play against each other, who's going to say that Blue Spartan doesn't want to cheat? Put on some aim hacks or something. The NCAA will be able to regulate that, which is something that probably wouldn't get done if it was a club varsity sport or the NCAA wasn't involved. So I believe that the recognition is an important part. The NCAA is going to help create the stage for the players in order to get recognition, be able to become at the pro level if they'd like. It also gives them experience, which sometimes they don't get in high school or at the club level. The experience that they're going to get is important because it is a job. NCAA career, like myself, I was on the swimming and diving team. It was a job, and you need to know what it's like to be in a job, because if you'd like to go into the esports world professionally, you need to know that, hey, this is going to take 8 hours, or this is going to take most of my time. And as well as the funding, which I think is a very important part. Scholarship. A lot of students are not able to afford a lot of good schools. Let's say you are really good at Fortnite and you want to go to the University of Florida because it's a great school, obviously. And if you can't afford it, you're going to have to go somewhere else, probably FSU, which nobody wants to go to. I may be a little biased, but if you can't afford it, that's a big step in the wrong direction. Whereas the NCAA provides scholarships, which would be great for those players that want to go at the pro level and collegiate level. So NCAA will be positive.
Look at that. He wraps it up in 4 minutes time. He managed to sneak in a dig to SFU, and he also managed to call out Blue Spartan on some game cheating. So I don't know, Blue, you got 4 minutes. Now, again, tonight's topic is that, thank you, NCAA's involvement would negatively impact esports. I'm going to leave the word collegiate out on that one because we were called out on that in the chat. But so, Blue, you are here to agree with this statement. So you have 4 minutes. Make your case.
Alex, thank you for your statement. I think you did an okay job of trying to explain why NCAA would be positive in esports. Now I'm going to tell you why I completely disagree. Firstly, the NCAA is the worst organization in the history of sports. Not to mention their ongoing lawsuits, the biggest academic fraud case in the history of college sports, and the U.S. Supreme Court recently issued a ruling this year that opens the door for college athletes to start getting compensated. And what does the NCAA do? They, of course, try to fight it. And they also try to ask the court if they would limit any sort of educational related perks since they're going to be getting paid. Now, what does that mean? That means scholarships. That means free instruments if they're into playing music for the college. That means books. That means their food card. Now, why would the NCAA fight to not have students get educational related perks? Sounds like they're greedy to me. And in fact, looking at their history, that's all I see is greed. Like I said, biggest academic fraud case in the history of college sports. You can just Google that and find plenty of articles on the NCAA. I feel like if the NCAA got involved in esports, there'd be way more regulation. They'd be trying to profit from it, which is already a profiting industry. So they're going to be taken away from the players. It's already set up to where if a college student is playing in an esports league, they can get paid. And then we have the NCAA coming in, trying to be greedy, getting their little dirty fingers involved. I think it's a extremely bad idea. What we do need is more esports organizations or bigger esports organizations who are willing to put money into these students, into these college players, so that they can get their name out there. And actually, a lot of them already do a pretty good job at getting their name out there on their own with things like Twitch and TikTok and Instagram, especially if they're grinding. They're really good at the game that they like to play. And, they're making really cool clips and they're putting it out there and they're getting, viral views on it. I think the hustlers and the ones that are out there grinding, doing this are getting some pretty good recognition. And then you have an esports organization willing to sponsor them coming in. That's the perfect package. NCAA coming in, trying to get their dirty little fingers in the money, trying to control what the students are doing. You got a bad grade? Oh, you can't play in the esports organization, or you can't play in this tournament. Nah, come on now. Let's keep the NCAA out of it, and let's have the esports freedom of the private organizations paying these players. I'll just keep it at that.
All right. Yield back the balance of my time. Okay. Nicely done, Blue. Now, Alex, since Blue went second, you will begin with your up to 4 rebuttal questions, and Blue will have 1 minute apiece. So, Alex, what's your first question?
Well, just hearing what Blue Spartan had to say there, I kind of want to ask this question. So, Blue Spartan, you have been streaming for how long?
So I started streaming last May, streamed for a couple months, relatively consistent, but now I don't really stream much at all.
Okay. So I guess it hasn't been that long, but I just, you were saying how you've been, that how streamers have make money and everything. And I don't think that they've made nearly enough money, that they can do it. So anyways, let me move on here. If NCAA, my first question or second question, if you want to count that one, if the NCAA is not involved, how will esports teams get funding to afford equipment, get tournaments, afford players and coaches?
Simple question was answered in my statement, and that's private esports organizations who are willing to put money into these kids or into these college players, adults at this point. Let's just be real on that. Organizations like Aquatik. I mean, hey, look, we are pretty much building something here that we're going to be able to put money into players and stuff like that. So, hey, more companies like us or us bigger.
Okay. So without the NCAA's involvement, what tournaments will players and teams participate in that aren't at the pro level or open level? Because anybody can compete in those tournaments.
Whatever tournaments these private esports companies create, simply put, we don't need the NCAA controlling that.
Okay. Final question. If I'm allowed to ask 5, is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. I was just trying to get to know you a little more on that first question. Without the NCAA, without the NCAA's rules and regulations, how will teams know that other teams aren't cheating, either during scrimmages or competitive games against each other?
Well, typically in an esports tournament, the rules and regulations are clearly lined out, typically in the sign-up section. So there are various websites or forms or whatever out there that when you sign up for an esports organization, you can click on the side that says rules and regulations and clearly read through those so that you have a good understanding of what they are. I believe that if the NCAA got involved, they would be putting all types of regulations on there that are tied to their academic scores, their grades, their SAT scores, like they already do for these college athletes. So I think that the regulation would be unnecessary. And I think by clearly outlining the rules and regulations like that is currently happening with most esports tournaments, clearly outlining them on whatever sign up page or website they have is perfect at this point. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of how I look at it.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, Blue, you get to return the favor. Your first question for Alex.
First question. What is your thought on the NCAA fighting against athletes being possibly compensated? And then once the court ruled that they can be compensated, what is your thoughts on the NCAA fighting against them receiving educational benefits from the school?
So the NCAA, they have to allow people, or they have to allow the same opportunity as students and student athletes. So yes, you're getting a scholarship to go there. Yes, you're getting money to, be paid. And you're getting money to play your sport, which is your job. They need the same, obviously they get the same education. That's not part of the deal, but being compensated in that way for doing a job, I think is fair. I think that you're putting not only your time and effort and your body for the school and to represent the school fairly and well, you're also doing the job of being a full-time student, which I think deserves a little bit of conversation, even if, I think the NCAA is wrong for taking away that they're trying to make it equal and they're trying to make it fair that the students and the athletes are fair, I guess.
Okay. Second question. How do you feel about, and keep in mind, NCAA is a tax exempt organization. How do you feel about them continually trying to profit off of what the athletes are doing? I'll just leave it at that. How do you feel about them continually trying to profit off what the athletes are doing, the college athletes?
So I think the NCAA, it really looks like they're trying to profit, and they're profiting for the school. They are a nonprofit organization, but they are trying to profit for the school's sake. They're trying to make money in order to get more scholarships for the students, in order to get better equipment, in order to make the SEC, the Pac-10 or Pac-12, the Big Ten, all those conferences, they're trying to make them better. And I think if, the NCAA, it's their job to make the money in order to provide it for everybody, provide the tournaments, provide the rules and regulations. I think that it's okay that they're profiting off of the schools. The schools are also profiting. We're representing the school, or the esports teams are representing the school. Somebody's going to make money. If team's going to make some money too, because the NCAA changed their rules. They're going to make some money off the tournaments. And I think everybody's in a win-win situation.
Okay. So, are you aware that student tuition has increased over 1,000% over the past 20 years?
Is that the question? Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. I personally don't believe the NCAA is transparent with the money that they make. And I guess for my third question, what do you think the NCAA can do better with providing the athletes benefits rather than fighting against them receiving benefits?
I think the NCAA is doing a great job. They provide a lot of benefits for the student athletes. How they could be better is, I guess, if you asked this question a year ago, I would have said allow the student athletes to get paid, but the NCAA changed their rule. I think everything is great at the moment. I think I'm sorry?
Due to a court ruling.
Yes, but, they changed the rule. The NCAA changed the rule so that student athletes can get paid. And the Alabama, quarterback is now almost making 6 figures, I think. Not 7, 6. That he's a 21-year-old kid, freshman Alabama quarterback. Like, that's going to be the esports in a couple of years. So I think that everything's fair here, and I think that the student athletes are going to be fairly treated, and I think the NCAA is going to help that.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree that if the NCAA got involved in esports, agree or disagree that there would be more regulation? And then why?
Sure. I think the NCAA, because it's a new area for the NCAA to get involved in, I think there will be rules and regulations on the specific teams, but I don't think they'll be any different than any other team. I think there'll still be drug testing. They're still going to see if they're getting treated fairly. The educational side of they're keeping score of your, if you're getting C's or not, or you're passing. I think that's a very important rule to have so that the student athlete is, able to succeed not only in a sport, but in life. That education comes first. Being a student athlete myself, I know that my coaches sometimes forget that I'm going to school to go to school. The NCAA wasn't on my back to do that. It was their rule to do that. And a lot of schools create their own rules. So I think that the NCAA is doing great in that part. And I don't think that they need to really change anything.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you. Good stuff from each of you. Now, as you guys prepare your 2-minute closing statements, which, Alex, you will go first, as we did at the beginning. But first, I want to talk to all of you out there. I don't know if you have a sweet tooth like I do, but you got to try this stuff, okay? Can you read it? Can you see it? So Chatty. Now, this stuff, on the quest for dairy-free chocolate, So Chatty discovered a technology that unlocked chocolate's flavor unlike anything they had ever tried before. So Chatty delivers the true flavor and purest chocolate experience. So Chatty is more than just melted chocolate. Their chocolate making process delivers a depth of flavor that will change your chocolate expectations. So Chatty's craft, coupled with their innovative packaging preserves the flavors that typically get lost during traditional chocolate manufacturing. And as always, you can use the code MAKINGWAVES, get 25% off also Chatty and other 7Cs products. You go to 7cs.gg and use the promo code MAKINGWAVES. All right, 2 minutes to sum it all up. We're going to start. We're going to throw the ball. I'm just using a sports metaphor here since he's a student athlete. We're going to throw the ball. No, you were a diver. I can't go there. Anyway, Alex, you get 2 minutes. Go ahead. Make your case to sum up.
Sure. So in conclusion, I believe that the NCAA will have a positive impact. And like I said before, I think the funding is a big part of it. The NCAA is going to profit. So is the school and so are the students. I believe that getting a better equipment and better coaching and better staff for the students is very important. And I think that is not possible unless they are creating the funded by the NCAA. I don't think that an organization is going to be able to fund any students and get them scholarships, especially in education. That comes first, like I said before. As much as I love Aquatik, they're not going to send somebody to school. So, I believe that the NCAA's rules and regulations are good. I think that they provide boundaries that the students are able to stay in. I think that they allow the student athletes to compete at a fair level in tournaments without cheating, without any concerns that their grades may be dropping because they have the NCAA holding those rules to, hey, if he's not having a C, he can't go compete. I don't think that's a bad rule to have. I think the education part is good. And thirdly, I think that it puts them on the main stage, which I think is great because, everybody wants to go pro. It's a very slim chance. 1.9% college athletes go pro. And from high school to pro, it's 0.45%. So without that main stage that the NCAA provides, I don't think that a lot of esports teams and esports athletes are going to be able to go pro, which is only going to happen with the NCAA's help.
All right. Thank you very much. Blue, it is your chance. 2 minutes to wrap up. Make your closing statement. Go ahead. Make your case.
All right. I personally think the NCAA would be the biggest mistake in esports if they got involved. Esports being one of the fastest growing industries right now in the world. So the NCAA's little 12 billion or whatever they have won't even hold a candle to esports, to the esports organization in 5-10 years. I also fully believe that Aquatik will have the availability and the funds to send not only one, but probably several or many kids to college because, our core beliefs do fall on education, conservation, and innovation. So in the future, I do hope to see that from Aquatik, and I do believe it's possible because we are getting into some very big things. But back to NCAA, they just have too much of a bad, sketchy history. It seems like they have a history of getting in trouble because they do sketchy things, of doing sketchy things with money, with hiring people who are also very sketchy from the beginning. Their ongoing lawsuits kind of speak for itself. And then they're fighting against the Supreme Court to pay or allow the athletes to receive compensation. And then once they ruled that they can receive compensation, they tried to take away some of their other school benefits. I think all of that speaks for itself when it comes to the NCAA. They just need to be completely eliminated at this point. We don't need them. No one needs them. I feel like a new organization could potentially replace them in the colleges, maybe make it private so that they're not able to benefit from their tax status and then do sketchy things with the money after that. But anyway, I think that kind of makes my point. I think it's a horrible idea for esports. Okay,
all right. Thank you both very, very much. Riptide, do me a favor. Will you remind me that I need to talk to Neptune and ask him if he's asked Blue Spartan to consciously plug Aquatik a little more often on the show, because this seems to be a theme the last few weeks. But anyway, while our judges are making now judges, so you can't vote for Lucy the dog. I'm telling you again, that's not fair. It was a joke, because she's a shoo-in if you were to do that. So, but while they're making their decisions, let me talk to the rest of you. Speaking of tournaments, about Path to Pro. All right, this is an aquatic tournament, Path to Pro. Aquatik and Respawn are joined by partners such as Tricore and Gamer Advantage to bring Path to Pro to life. The series provides amateur tournament competitors and creators with a platform and industry connections, plus added attention and exposure. Aquatik will be featuring Fortnite in custom private matches with spectator mode streams for the series duration. Now, yeah, okay, Alex is right. We're not sending anybody to college, at least not this time around. But winners of this tournament will have the opportunity to be fitted out with Respawn products, top-rated accessories and peripherals, personalized workout routines and nutrition coaching from Tricore Gaming, unique sponsorship opportunities, and interviews with popular esports teams such as Dark Zero and the Houston Outlaws. Aquatik and Respawn built the prize pool to give these amateur players a glimpse into the life of pro players. If you'd like to learn more about Path to Pro, head on over to Aquatik's website at Aquatik Esports member. Aquatik is spelled with a K, aquatikesports.com. Or if you're an amateur gamer and you want an opportunity to play in the tournament, head on over to aquatik.gg/Path to Pro. Again, Aquatik with a K, aquatik.gg/Path to Pro. I believe Riptide has a little bit of video presentation to share with y'all. All right. Thank you very much. All right. The judge's decision is in, and it looks like we have agreement both between the crowd and chat and the judges. Tonight's winner, none other than our very own Blue Spartan. Woo, nicely done, Blue. Alex, thank you very, very much for joining us. Nicely done, Blue. Now, we move on to my favorite section, my favorite segment of the show, although I think tonight's is going to be a little anticlimactic. I'm going to have a hard time with, well, let's just go right into it. My favorite segment of the show in this season is Which is the True Blue? It's my favorite segment where you learn, because remember, Blue Spartan had to argue whichever side of this argument came to him. So was he really arguing what he genuinely believed, or was he arguing just to argue? So Blue, what is the real Blue?
Titan, real quick, what do you think? Let me ask your opinion on it. Do you think I'm pro or con to this?
Dude, all I'm telling you is if you are actually, you argued pro, and if you are actually con to this, that you actually don't think they're negative, then dude, you got to run for office, because you can lie so quickly and easily to a camera that you got my vote, man. I mean, holy crap.
Oh, man. I think you can always tell when I'm actually acting or not, but because I am pro to this argument. I don't think the NCAA is the right organization to get involved in esports, only because, like I kept saying, their history of such sketchiness. I think there's too much gray area with the NCAA. But if there was an organization that was just as big, that would actually spend their money on helping the esports athletes get to where their goals are, get to where they're going in the esports organizations, then I think that would be great. But for now, I think we should just stick to private esports orgs willing to put their money into these guys. Simply put.
That sounds good to me, and I'll talk to Neptune about which college Blue would like to sponsor for next semester. In the meantime, well, it's the one win you'll get here tonight, Alex. We're going to make sure we start with UF. Go Gators! That's going to be the first college. Alex, by the way, first of all, welcome to the Aquatic team. Appreciate it. Great to have you here. And secondly,
thank you.
Secondly, I want to make sure I got I didn't want to screw up your handle on the Discord. It's Free Diver. Where else can they find you?
They can find me at Twitter. I'm at UFAlexF. And I'm starting up a stream, but just for fun. So I might pop into our streams and just be there. But it's going to be your Free Diver anyway. So they'll know it's me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Blue. We all know where to find you, and I'm very interested in next week's topic. So let's talk about next week's topic. What are we arguing next week, Riptide? Bring it up on the screen. So I want opinions here. Video game is an art form of self-expression for the creator. It's a little not worded here well, but basically it is a form of art or self-expression for the creator. Now, okay, I mean, hey, look. I like gaming as much as the next guy. Do you think this is an art form, a form of self-expression for the creator of the game? This is an interesting thing. I can see an argument. I'll be interested if I can be convinced of the argument. So we will see next week. I can't wait. I hope you guys are back. In the meantime, have a great week and come back next week. We get to learn about art and we get to make some waves. Take care.